welcome to highlights of the 1991 Portuguese Grand Prix, brought to you by Micropose and GP2Joey. It's the 13th round of the championship in the 2.7 mile Estoril track, always a hive of frenetic Portuguese and Brazilian fans cheering on the defending world champion Ayrton Senna, who is fast becoming a legend at Ferrari. Despite retiring from the lead last time out of Monza, where teammate Michael Andretti claimed his first career win, there are still 4 races to go in this dramatic season, and 6 drivers are still in the hunt for the title, with McLaren's Alain Prost leading on 53 points, with Senna tied for second with Nigel Mansell, and Prost's teammate Joey Davies in third on 39 points. In the constructors' standings, McLaren are still on top, holding a 14-point lead over Williams in second, with defending champions Ferrari languishing in third. In the news, former double world champion Nelson Piquet announced his retirement at the end of the year, whilst Johnny Herbert told Footwork he was leaving, possibly for Jordan in 1992. Monza winner Andretti was then confirmed at Ferrari for another year alongside Senna, and Mugen Honda, an offshoot of the Honda Motor Company, announced they could be supplying 2 teams with old spec Honda engines next year. Famed designer Steve Nichols then quit Ferrari for Joas Racing before Benetton confirmed they had signed Martin Brundle and Herbert for next season, and Davis raised a few eyebrows in admitting his desire to compete in the Indy 500 at some point in the near future. Friday morning's 30-minute pre-qualifying session was a close one, as drivers sought to get their cars set up as best they could before going for a hot lap. In the end, though, it was Britain's Damon Hill who ran out fastest in the Brabham, closely followed by the LaRousse of Eric Bernard and the Dallara of Emanuele Pirro in third, with them all progressing further into the race weekend with their respective teammates Mark Blundell, Aguri Suzuki and JJ Leto, whilst the others were left to go home early. Fresh from his win at Monza, Andretti showed well on Friday, ending up 4th fastest in the Ferrari, whilst down at Williams, Alesi looked strong, as did Martin Brundle in the footwork. But ultimately it was Mansell who took the provisional pole by nearly half a second, and problems hit Prost and Senna, who both failed to set a lap, and Davis was left struggling for grip in 5th. Afterwards, Williams confirmed Senna's decision to stay at Ferrari for another year meant they would be keeping Mansell and Alesi for 92, before Tyrrell confirmed deals with Mugen Honda and would be running Satoru Nakajima once again. Gerhard Berger was then confirmed to be staying on for another season at Joas, complete with some extra sponsorship money from Red Bull. Fresh with a McLaren contract in his pocket for next year, Jordan's Michael Schumacher impressed once more on Saturday before Senna, who lost all of Friday running with engine issues, jumped to the top of the timing screens with a lap time that many thought would be impossible to beat. That was until Davis emerged for one final run in the McLaren, and hurtling himself across the line, the 27-year-old Briton suddenly went quickest and claimed his 5th pole position of the year from under the Brazilian's nose with only minutes remaining, and it was Aguri Suzuki and Blundell who both failed to qualify. Afterwards, Davis was confident of repeating his win from 12 months ago. Senna called on Ferrari to ensure his car was reliable, as did Mansell, who called on his Williams team to up the ante, whilst Prost remained untroubled at his qualifying position, having focused on his race setup instead. And then it emerged that Jordan would be using Ilmor engines from 1992. So it's Davis on pole with Ayrton Senna in second place, Nigel Mansell and Martin Brundle on row 2. Row 3 is Jean Alesi and Michael Andretti. Row 4 is Johnny Herbert and Michael Schumacher. Row 5 is Roberto Moreno and Nelson Piquet. Row 6 is Alain Prost and Gerhard Berger. Row 7 is Andrea De Cesaris and Satoru Nakajima. Row 8 is Riccardo Patrese and Mika Hakkinen. Row 9 is Thierry Boutsen and Stefano Modena. Row 10, Pierluigi Martini and Eric Comas. Row 11 is Martin Donnelly and Damon Hill. Row 12 is Gianni Morbidelli and JJ Leto, and at the back it's Eric Bernard and Emanuele Pirro. It's a beautiful clear day as we get ready for 71 laps of the Portuguese Grand Prix. The red lights come on, the engine revs rise, and it's go, go, go! Davies gets a little bit of wheel spin away from pole position. Ayrton Senna comes to challenge on the inside. As they go into turn 1, it's Senna ahead of Davies, but Brundle goes through into second place as Davies hits the back of the footwork. Mansell's up into third place, so Davies drops from first down to fourth by the first turn. Fantastic stuff. Senna's in the lead with Brundle, it's Mansell. Davies has got Alesi all over the back of his McLaren. Johnny Herbert's in sixth place with Michael Andretti in seventh. Nelson Piquet is 8th and Michael Schumacher's up to 9th with Gerhard Berger in 10th, and Alain Prost, I think, has dropped down to 13th place from 11th. He's made an absolutely appalling start in the other McLaren. But down to the left-hand hairpin, it's Senna still in the lead. He's got on 6/10 of a second lead over Martin Brundle. Nigel Mansell 1 second further back, and Joey Davies is climbing all over the back of Mansell's Williams already. He's got to try and make up ground, and this race is going to be absolutely decisive for the World Championship battle, because Senna, Davies and Mansell and Alain Prost, really they're the only ones that are in the title fight this year so far. Brundle hasn't got really much of a chance, and it's only Jean Alesi and Michael Andretti who have a very slim chance of actually trying to do anything in terms of winning the championship. But as they come through the Parabolica for the first time, it's Senna. He's extended the lead now. It's surely well over 1 second to Martin Brundle. Across the line he comes, and it's 9/10 of a second. Davies looks like he's going to try and pass Mansell, and here's a replay of the start.
Fantastic getaway from Ayrton Senna here, because Joey Davies is bogged down. You can hear him having to blip the throttle to try and avoid getting as minimal wheel spin as he possibly could, and then he just taps the back of Brundle's footwork there, and then has to allow Nigel Mansell through, so he obviously doesn't want to get any contact with any drivers. And then down into the third turn, right-hand hairpin, he almost clatters into the back of Mansell's Williams, and Davies is having a look at Brundle. So as we were watching that replay of the start, Davies has obviously got past Nigel Mansell, and now he is fully in attack mode on Martin Brundle, and he's going to try and take him on the right-hand hairpin now. Is he going to do it? No, he can't. And there's Damon Hill pulling off as one of the BMS Stellaris almost runs off, trying to avoid him, but Damon Hill is out in the BMW, in the Brabham, and here's Mika Hakkinen with JJ Leto for close company. And these two youngsters who are absolutely trying to do whatever they can to get a decent account of themselves for a good run at a 1992 seat. But is Leto going to have the inside? He does. This is fantastic racing right the way through the field. Leto goes past Hakkinen as Eric Bernard looks to have a go in the LaRousse, but the finish much too wise for that. And there's Michael Andretti making a move on Nigel Mansell. This is for fourth place, and he's through. Martin Brundle was hanging on in third. Davies has got past Martin Brundle as well as Moreno spins. Well, another spin there from Roberto Moreno. I think that's three races and 3 spins he's had. I don't know what he's doing in that car, quite frankly. As Davies makes a move on Senna. Is he going to go through? He does. Senna just gets out of the way. He doesn't want to avoid any contact. He doesn't want any contact with Joey Davies. But Davies was absolutely not going to let anything else other than him come out of that corner ahead of Senna, because Johnny Herbert almost loses it as well. And there's smoke out of one of the Jordans there. I think that's Schumacher. I think that's Michael Schumacher pulling over on lap 6 already. Michael Schumacher is out of the race. I think that was.
Yes, that was Schumacher, but look at this. Senna, he's going to try and repass Joey Davies once more as the two of them go side by side through the first turn. Piquet and Herbert are going to try it, but Piquet just can't get through there. Johnny Herbert cut him across. I'm not sure why the TV directors cut away from that to show Martin Donnelly, because here's Mansell. Mansell trying to go through. He can't get past Brundle. Fantastic stuff. Look at this. Davies has got a 7/10 of a second lead over Senna. Michael Andretti's in third. It's Brundle fourth. Nigel Mansell in fifth. Jean Alesi sixth. As we see two of the Tyrrells and the Jordan of Andrea De Cesaris. That's Nakajima. He's got De Cesaris right behind him. Is he going to go through? He can't. So Nakajima holds off Andrea De Cesaris. But here's Michael Andretti. And we're hearing that Andretti has got past Senna. Surely that's got to be for tactics, because Andretti, the winner last time out of Monza, he really doesn't have much of more than a mathematical chance of the championship. It's Senna who's going for it. He's the outright number one at Ferrari. But maybe Senna's just trying to preserve his tyres, and Ferrari have said to him, go after Joey Davies and see if you can catch him.
I think that's probably the wisest thing for Ferrari to do, because if Senna doesn't want to use up his tyres, then that would be a very good tactic by the team to try and get him to pass Davies.
I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it, though, because Andretti's already lost ground. He's obviously made a mistake in the first turn, because Senna's gone past him already. He's slowing! My goodness me! Michael Andretti slowing and he's out. Michael Andretti is retiring, the winner last time out at Monza. He is out of the race, got smoke billowing out of the car. I wonder if he's had some sort of an engine failure. As Davies comes into the pits for his first 2 stops. He's onto the marks. Nice little wipe of the visor from the Jeep mechanic there. How fast is the stoppage? 9.4 seconds. Fantastic stuff. And what's that going to do for Senna? Is Senna going to come in at the same time?
Well, if Senna and Ferrari have got any plan, they're going to have to keep him out and see if he can actually try and do some lap times.
And that's a footwork slowing. That's Martin Brundle. Brundle's got smoke pouring out of the back there. And Nigel Mansell's going to be unchallenged in 3rd position now. And that has elevated Johnny Herbert into 4th place. As Ayrton Senna comes into the pits. He's held on for a couple of laps longer. But I think that could well have been a mistake by the Ferrari team, because Davies rejoined the circuit after his tyre stop. He had absolutely no traffic around him, and Senna had to negotiate at least 3 or 4 cars in the 2 laps that he decided to stay out because Ferrari weren't ready. But all of that's meant that Jean Alesi is in the lead. And it's Nigel Mansell in 2nd place. And we understand that both of them are only going to be making 1 tyre stop today. Is that going to prove to be the right tyre safety, the tyre strategy or not? We're not sure, but we'll wait to find out.
Andrea De Cesaris is running well in 11th place at the moment, but I'm not sure if he's going to stay there because he's probably going to have his usual spin at some point. If you see one of the other cars come into the pits, I think that was one of the Williams. It was Jean Alesi. So Jean Alesi's come into the pits. Nelson Piquet's in as well, and that means that Nigel Mansell is now the race leader with Johnny Herbert in 2nd place.
Joey Davies is only 4.5 seconds behind Herbert, and he is catching him hand over fist. But Senna's he's a further 9 seconds back. So Senna's lost 9 seconds between his in-lap and his out-laps. Well, Joey Davies had a very good pit stop, but Senna's dropped right the way back from being only half a second behind Davies. But Prost is now up to 5th, and Davies going through on the inside of Johnny Herbert. Are we going to see a TV shot of it from the outside? I don't think we are, because I think Davies has already gone through. He has. So Joey Davies is up to 2nd place, and he's only half a second behind Nigel Mansell. And here they come. They're right in the battle. Look at this. This is fantastic. Mansell's right behind Häkkinen's Lotus, and he's getting held up by him. He's got to try and negotiate his way around him quickly, because Davies is closing. And as they round the right-hander, Mansell gets balked slightly, and look at this. Davies has got a chance to go for it on the inside. Is he going to sneak it up the inside? He does. Mansell's going to try. He turns in. They touch. Mansell's in the air, and he's lost his front wing. My goodness me. Joey Davies, he took the lunge, and I don't think that was Davies' fault, because it looks to me as though he had the inside line, and Mansell may have just turned in not thinking he was there or something, but that was quite extraordinary.
Well, I'd like to see a replay of that, because I do suspect that was Mansell's error there. Mansell had left the gap, and Davies went forward on the inside, and he was already alongside. Well, let's have a look at it from onboard Davies' McLaren. Let's have a look. He sticks it up the inside here. You can see he's already alongside him, and Mansell just turns into him. You can see his left front wheel hits the side pod of Davies' McLaren. That tells me that was Davies' corner. So really, that's Mansell at fault there, and that's a racing incident.
I want to see if I'm on car. Let's have a look at Mansell. So let's see, where's Davies? He's going to see him come up alongside on the left-hand side. And there he is. And Mansell he didn't give him any room. He just turned in on him. I think he was too preoccupied with trying to get past Häkkinen's Lotus. But Mansell's going to have to make an early tyre stop, unscheduled one at that. Fantastic stuff. And there's a McLaren passing one of the Ligiers there. But Mansell's trying to pass Piquet, and he's got past. So Mansell's had his stop, and he's up into 5th place. But he's already now surely going to be out of the running for the race, because it's Davies ahead of Johnny Herbert, and there's Herbert with Senna all over the back of him. He's in 3rd place with Prost up into 4th, but Prost is yet to stop. Mansell is 5th, it's Piquet in 6th. Gerhard Berger in the Joest is 7th. Jean Alesi is 8th in the 2nd, Williams having stopped. Patrese 9th in the 2nd Joest. And Herbert's coming under attack from Senna. Senna's going to go through. Senna's up into 2nd place, and he's 8.5 seconds away from Davies. Fantastic stuff. Is he going to be able to do anything about Davies? It's going to be interesting to see if he can catch him, because Andrea De Cesaris is also up into 10th position. But of the 4 Titan protagonists, it's Davies ahead of Senna, with Mansell in 4th. Prost is 5th. This is fantastic as Johnny Herbert comes into the pits there. And there's Joey Davies, and he's got past the Jordan of De Cesaris. But Senna's still 8 seconds away from him. And Nigel Mansell's still got to come in for another tyre stop, we understand. We heard that there was a problem with his car, but he's coming into the pits. It's Prost is in. So Alain Prost has come in. And where's he going to end up?
Well, I'm not sure, but Alain Prost, I think he's going to drop down to at least 9th, maybe even 10th position here, because... And that's Andrea De Cesaris. There's a surprise. Well, I mentioned it earlier, and it was a bit unusual that he hadn't spun, and sure enough, I'd rested my house on that for him to have spun, and sure enough, he did. Andrea De Cesaris losing the Jordan. It always seems that at the moment, he's getting very poor reliability. And Herbert! My goodness me! Well, he's only finished 2 races this year, and that record is still to continue because there are flames billowing out of the back of his footwork helmet, and he is out yet again. What is he going to do to be able to finish a race? Well, I'm not sure, but here comes Joey Davies into the pits in the McLaren. And Davies is in. He's on the brakes. Another cheeky wipe of the visor from the mechanic. Fantastic teamwork there. But Davies and Senna's come in at the same time. And what's this going to do for the race? Because Nigel Mansell is still further back, but he's not going to be able to take the lead. He's just following one of the Tyrrells there. But Piquet's up into 4th place. Prost is 5th. Alesi's in 6th and Berger's 7th. And Davies is out as Alain Prost almost loses it over the curbing. Fantastic stuff. Alain Prost is way down in 6th position now, and he desperately needs to get a decent finish today, because otherwise his lead in the championship, which is currently at 7 points, is going to be whittled down to more or less nothing, as Mansell tries to get past Patrese Joas, and he does so. But Davies is 7.9 seconds ahead of Senna, and Senna is catching him. He's catching him. Look at this. The gap's only 5.4 seconds. Senna is absolutely flying along in the Ferrari. Well, it's quite conceivable that Senna's actually going to try and catch Davies before the end of this race. And there's the Brazilian in that glorious Ferrari, and he's absolutely on the limit. There's Davies in the foreground. So Senna is definitely catching him now. The gap's only 3.6 seconds. Prost is in 6th position. Nigel Mansell is 3rd. What a battle this is for the championship. It certainly is, because Senna, he's closing the gap. Jean Alesi is in 5th position. It's Piquet in 4th. Mansell is 3rd. But we want to see the battle at the front, Mr. TV Director, because Davies is going to have Senna closing him down very shortly. I'm not sure if Davies has got a problem in the McLaren, but Senna is really catching him. I think this could be tactics by Joey Davies here. I think he could very well be looking after his tyres to make sure that they are fresh at the end of the race as he laps his teammate Alain Prost once again. Remember, obviously, he did this back at Silverstone earlier in the year, and there's one of the Minardis. That's Gianni Morbidelli slowing down. But Davies has got Senna now right behind him. He's 2 tenths behind him. Look at this. It's Davies and Senna. We're going to have a battle towards the end of the race now. It's these two desperately trying to race each other for the victory here, which is going to be so important for their championship hopes. Out of the final turn they come. Senna's going to be trying to close the gap on Davies, who takes a defensive line on the inside. Senna's not going to be able to do anything about it there as they cross the line. But Davies is still in the lead with Senna right behind him. And Mansell's 34 seconds away in 3rd place. Fantastic racing. Look at this. Senna and Davies absolutely neck and neck, as Alain Prost comes into the pits once more. But Davies is going defensive now. Is Senna going to try it? I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do anything about it. Davies has got the inside line covered. Fantastic defensive driving there, and very fair from both of them, as Senna's surely going to have another look now. Well, Senna's going to have to try and find a way, because Davies, like Senna does, he makes his McLaren very, very wide as he runs deep there. Is there any chance that Senna can get through there? I don't think he can. He's not going to be able to do anything about it there. Davies has got the inside line covered, and Senna's just trying to every which way he can to find a gap. But Davies just runs a little bit wide there at the penultimate turn. But Senna's right on his gearbox now through the final turn. I think that Senna's going to have enough speed now in his Ferrari to be able to launch an attack. Here he comes. Senna's got the slipstream. He pulls out alongside the two of them. They're side by side over the line. Down into turn 1. It's Davies on the inside. Senna's on the outside. Senna's going to stick it around the outside, and he's gone through. Fantastic stuff. Senna makes the pass around the outside of turn 1. I've not seen anybody do that ever. As Davies looks to the inside, locks up his brakes, but Senna covers the line. Fantastic stuff. Quite extraordinary pass there from Senna around the outside of Davies' McLaren. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that either. That was brave, it was fair, and what superb racing between these two, because Davies is on the attack again. He is! Davies is going to try and sling it up the inside like he did to Nigel Mansell. Is there going to be any contact between them? I don't think there is. There isn't. Senna has to give way, but Nigel Mansell is still in 3rd place, and Prost
Prost, we understand, is having some sort of an issue in 7th position. As Davies comes under attack again, Senna has a look, but he just blocks it. He blocks it again. Prost has had to pick because he's had brake trouble, we understand. We're hearing that Prost has either got brake trouble or has had brake trouble. We're not sure. We're going to get back to you on this, but we want to see the battle again between Davies and Senna. Look at this. Senna's all over the back of the McLaren again. Davies goes to defend, but Senna's too fast, and he's through. Senna's through. Fantastic. There's only a handful of laps to go, and it's trading. The first position is trading hands between Senna and Davies. Fantastic stuff. Davies is going to try and launch a counter-attack because Senna's just taken the lead, and he cannot afford to let the Brazilian get too far ahead of him.
Well, he really can't. They're both looking after their tyres as much as they could earlier on. Senna's closed the gap from 11 seconds down to absolutely nothing, and he's now in the lead. But Joey Davies is going to have to really try and muster the courage, the guts and the grip from all that McLaren, as much of it as he can possibly find now on the run down to the first turn.
And here he comes. Davies pulls out from the slipstream. They're side by side again over the line. Davies has got the inside, and he goes through. Is he into the first turn? It's Senna ahead. It's Davies ahead. Fantastic stuff. This is what Formula One is all about. They are absolutely neck and neck. No quarter given and none taken, with Nelson Piquet in 4th position. Nigel Mansell still 3rd. It's Jean Alesi 5th. Gerhard Berger's in 6th place. Prost is down in 7th and he's out of the points. It's going to be 10 points for either Senna or Davies, with Nigel Mansell on the podium as well. And look at this. This is the final lap. It's Davies still in the lead. Senna, he's going to try and make the move. Davies goes defensive, but Senna's too far back to try anything. Into the left-hander, and he can't make it stick there.
This is quite phenomenal. Davies is driving beautiful. This really is the drive of a champion in waiting. I must say, he's been patient, he's been tenacious, and his wily old head on young shoulders with Senna driving has been a delight to be watching, as Senna's got one more chance now into the tight left-hander at the top of the hill.
And I don't think he's going to be able to do it. He can't. He's too far back. Into the left-hander they come. Senna again. He closes right up in the gearbox of Davies' McLaren. But they're coming through the final turn now. For the final time, they exit the corner. Senna's closing, but Davies, he's going to win. Davies comes across to the checkered flag, and Joey Davies wins a fantastic Portuguese Grand Prix with Senna less than half a second away. Fantastic racing between those two, with Nigel Mansell set to finish in 3rd place. Joey Davies and Ayrton Senna, what a battle at the end of that race there, with Nigel Mansell out of the final turn now, and he's a distant 26 seconds away. But Nigel Mansell takes the final podium position in 3rd. And what a sight to see that is, with Davies doing the donuts for the fans after a fantastic victory. What a performance from the 27-year-old Briton. Fantastic. And what a Portuguese Grand Prix. Davies' win today was certainly much needed for the Briton, and the battle over the last few laps with Senna will surely be remembered for many years to come, and once more proved he's able to take the fight to title rivals Senna, Mansell and Prost, as Piquet took 4th, Alesi a distant 5th, and Berger a decent 6th for Joas Racing. On the podium, Davies sprayed the champagne and shook hands with Senna, the two of them embracing after their epic, clean fight at the end, which earned the Brazilians praise, with the defending champ relieved to have finished the race, as was Mansell, who admitted fault in his earlier clash with Davies, which cost him car performance, as well as having to deal with gearbox troubles, and Prost moaned at McLaren for brake issues that saw him finish out of the points in 7th. It all means Prost's lead in this utterly exciting battle for the title is cut to 1 point from Senna, with Mansell 3 points further back and Davies sitting 4th, only 4 points away. And in the constructors' standings, there's not much change other than McLaren's lead extending by 4 points to 18 over Williams, with Ferrari still in 3rd. With only 3 rounds to go and 5 drivers still in with a shout at the championship, it's getting very tense as we head to Spain next, but who will be victorious? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for round 14 of the 1991 Formula One World Championship in Barcelona.